records are not recorded informal. And then when there are rights, new schemes, rights coming in from government like land grant to single women, poor, rest of the poor. So there also
saying, putting up some facts in 2.6 billions of land as per the day, plots are not been 25 to 30 years to complete. And all these years, new in Chhattisgarh, in Manipur, Center for Land Governance is compelling the communities to map their own lands, own rights in their own village. So this session would be mostly discussing on the practical field experiences of the pilot in Manipur. So instead of taking long time, I would request who will start.
Not documented in most cases, but this doesn't mean that in some certain in some certain point, to a certain point, I think we can do the codify by the intellectual who are working in the land rights. If the community leaders or the chief or the village leader give them to do so, yeah. And as a pilot project, RNBA and partners, by using DGPS, we did mapping in 6 villages across Pana. Yeah, in Navin present it is 5 villages, but yeah, in 6 villages, because only the figure. We carried out in 6 villages, and the technical support and input from this Center for Land Governance, Bhubaneswar. In the whole process, in one village, it took around 1 week to complete the mapping processes.
In that first one, we have divided into two parts, that is pre-mapping meeting and mapping meeting. So in the pre-mapping meeting, first one is awareness raising on importance of land mapping and land records. So in that, what we have done in the field is that we have conducted awareness meeting in the particular village where we are going to map, not map actually, it's according to the opinions of the people. We conducted an awareness meeting by inviting the clan leaders and church leaders, village authority, if it is Kuki village, the chief, the church leaders, youth club, women's society, and SAGs and others institution which is available in the village. So we invited them and we had a meeting, and in that meeting we just highlighted the importance of mapping. That is like unlike in the valley, so as of now in the Manipur, there is no written records like lane pata system in the hills. So like any companies like ONGC, Power Grid, Railways, etc., they suddenly come and took their land without their knowledge. And also in order to they came and took their land without their knowledge, so they can't say anything because they don't have any proper documents for that. So we just make them understand like mapping is very important because it will be a kind of safeguard for them as well. And then
project village and the beneficiary, and especially for the widows that we came across in the project village. So while we are doing this mapping, one very important tools that we did is the preparation that we do before going for mapping. In that preparation, we take out the Google map of the village, and then after taking out the Google map of the village, we invite all the village authority, led by the chairman, secretary, and from youth, women, and community that participate in that, and then they just locate the map and the boundaries and the land use pattern in different areas that they are doing. In all that, we used to pre-arrange the map before going actually the mapping. So doing that, after doing all that, we had a discussion regarding the land use pattern in the village. So in that discussion, we come across that in that project village, we have come across about 27 widows families are there. So, and then we also mapped about 27 widows map plot in the project village. So in that, while we are discussing on that, we asked about the land rights for the widows. So in that, the village said that, and then we also came across that some widows, they get the ownership right of the plot also.
Then cropping pattern and livestock, etc. So these are the household survey which we collected through Kobo app. Then the second one is photograph with permission. When we take the household information, we also take the photograph of the person who is like during the interview, whether he or she is the head of the household or whether he or she is not the household, like household headman, just to indicate that the member of the house is present during the interview time. And the third one is like photo of documents if required with permission. Like during the household survey, we also ask the person whether like they have some documents related to the land, like whether they have like documented like orchard, then terrace and homestead, whether they have been mapped before intervention, like so these are some of the documents that we also collect during the interview.
The accurate timing, I must have to read what is written here. We shock out points like this. First of all, we share EMEI, which is mobile technical number where we submit to the GIS controller number, so that this number must be recognized in our phone. And then we install Kobo Collect app in the mobiles from which household or parcel data will be collected. So after Kobo Collect app is installed in our map, only then we can have a kind of a data information where we could collect from the individuals. Then we installed Spatial Net Mapper GIS data collection app. Of course, this app will be the app where it will give the exact source of the physical map that we will be doing. Maybe the area of the land, the figures of the map that we will see with our own naked eyes, that will be produced by this app. And then for the
we started our mapping, and mapping is done in the presence of the neighbor from east, west, north, south, and even the village of the chief used to be present during the mapping process. And after we are done with the mapping, we send the data to Navin, and then Navin check the whole process, whether the map comes out correctly or not. And if the map doesn't come out correctly, then we do the remapping process. And then when it is quite good enough, then we send the data to Navin, and then he give the confirmation. And then after that, after it is received and checked, we also show the map to the owner, whether the boundaries and everything, the demarcation comes out properly according to them or not. Meeting for the distribution of the land tenure certificate. And distribution of land tenure certificate, we already had a meeting of the certificates, land tenure certificates, to some of the villagers also.
Thank you. I request Priska.
I'd like to talk about confirmation with community, the six steps. The sixth step. While going for a confirmation with the community, this land mapping was very new for them, because they like for a long time from the ancestral period, they don't know what is mapping, what is the importance of land mapping. So when we came for mapping the land, we said we are going to map the land and we will give you a written record for everyone. And so from that time, they were so excited, and they were showing a kind of interest. So after mapping, during the mapping also they were showing interest and they were going with everyone, and while mapping the boundary, while mapping the individual field and the boundary also, they were coming with us and holding the rubber happily and walking all through the forests and jungles and everywhere.
Whether this certificate is recognized by the legal system, legal process. Thirdly, is that when you talk about customary and linking with the mapping, I see there is some confusions and contradictory in the whole system. Because in an indigenous traditional custom, you basically don't have mapping system. You basically identify your land, saying from that particular tree to that bamboo, and from that tree to that particular tree. So that is the demarcations of our land, where in the village it is being understood by the villagers and by everyone. Now, when you start mapping, you are also making a limitations of your own occupations of ownership of your land.
Process where the government at one point of time, 2014, Manipur government introduced a new land use policy. Yeah, and then one of the major concerns with the new land use policy is they wanted to change the way how community owns land. So in a way, it is also more facilitating the privatization or the individualization of land to a certain extent. Which in a way will also pave the commercialization of land. And I think we also need to see the context as to why they are introducing NLUP, new land use policy, because this is also at a time when there is an aggressive push for development aggression and all kinds of mining, dam, all kinds of infrastructure projects. So in a way, there's a parallel push to ensure that it's easy, to create an enabling environment where it's easy to transfer land from community to whoever, whoever is targeting the land. So
now it's a rotating tenureship. At the time of your mapping, when you were certifying somebody, he may be the tenured owner at that time. But a time will come when that particular plot of land may be tenured to somebody because it's a clan land.
It's also changed. These questions we already raised among ourselves. We already discussed a lot about this, and even our donor from Germany who supported this process raised similar question, and we discussed this for the last 14 years, and we have done this. So we rather call it tenure documentation, and we call it tenure certificate because of that reason also. It's not just codification, just mapping. It is not. It is a tenure documentation. One thing, who allows? It is nobody's. So we just volunteer to do it, because before that I just want to say context first. The trends of changing and context. Maybe if it is similar in Meghalaya or Nagaland, I'm not sure. But in Tamenglong, what happened in Senapati, Churchampur, in Manipur mostly, the trend is that elites, as we already discussed yesterday, elites among our people, the chief become the absolute ownership of land now. It is no longer our tribal system now. The way it is changing. The railway compensation came, and what happened? One village got 36 crore. The chief taken 25 crore and share 5 crore for whole villages. This is the situation. Now that means the chief become the absolute ownership of that land. The elite's capture is happening. Maybe similar to Nagaland or not, I'm not sure. Any opportunity, schemes, land-based development, the chiefs will go and negotiate with government officer, with that people, with these people, and then he will enjoy everything. And the rest 90% living in that place become just outsider. It just becomes, for the sake of the people, we say from outside, but when you look deeper into that, they are not secure anymore to live in that situation. So this is the context, and that trend is changing more and more. The doing now in your system is in this area, this much area. So this is the map, what we are doing it. So this is how we are doing it. It is not that we document and we give them the certificate and become individual property. It is not. We just document the existing gender system. That is important, I think. When dam issue come, they should consult the community because it is legal. Our system become legal. That legal doesn't necessarily mean that it should be uniform, it should be something. So under some framework, if the legal government institution recognize this, then they should come and consult the community. Now, in this situation, it becomes very vulnerable to the tribal community. Without consulting the people, they can construct dam, they can come and explore this, they can construct railway, they can do highland, they can do anything. They can even remove them. Because for them, it is unsurveyed land, nobody land. But we say tribal, that it is our land. That means there is gaps. So we thought there should be some recognition by government, the traditional system. So for that reason, we are doing this.
Whether the legalization recognition is there or not, it is enough that people are there living, whether you have certifications, mutations, record of their land or not. Government need to consult the people. Government cannot simply go and carry out the project or the mining or anything without consulting the people. Then if the government does, then government is violating the whole process of land acquisition. I think that we need to understand. Then what is the protection mechanisms of your mapping? If you cannot stop or if you cannot, fight in the legal system. And traditionally it is understood. Our customary law it is already understood that it doesn't require the recognitions by the government. Even law recognize and codified customary practices of the indigenous people. So therefore, government has to do the consultations with the public that is called public hearing.
Thanks for raising the concern and issues which are really very, very useful while RNB is scaling up this community tenure documentation project ahead. But given all these legal, local and customary limitations, still there are excitements among communities to documenting their tenure rights for the first time. And I wish RNB will take this forward in future. So I thank you all the panel members for their presentations and responding to the issues and queries. So we can move ahead for the next session. I request Dr. Grace to